I, who own the other one, the mother of the child, can't slaughter him today. What that person did, but now that impacts me, because all Jews are connected to each other. We all have to care for each other. Alright, we were at the very bottom of the Amud. Today's daf is Ayin Tes. It's on the very bottom of Ayin Ches. One second, I'll get it.
Oh yeah.
So, the very bottom of Ayin Ches Amud Beis, we had a discussion of whether or not the phrase Shor Oseh Oso V'es Beno refers only to mother, or it even refers to father. So it says the Gemara now, starting today's daf. Ulu Chananya. Now, according to Chananya, who says that Oso V'es Beno applies to father too, explanations like this: Ksiv Oso. Since it says Oso, him and his son, Timash Mazachar, that implies father. Uksiv Beno. But on the other hand, it says his son, which, as we said yesterday, according to the Chachamim, sounds like Mishab no Karach Achrav, Tamash Menakeva, sounds like those that are left after their mother. Beno, his son, very attached to the mother. Because the son is the one who's always with the mother, so it sounds like it's only the mother. So therefore, since you have both, you have Oso and you have Beno, that's where the law of Oso V'es Beno applies both to fathers and to mothers. So fathers on the word Oso, fathers on the word Oso, and Beno teaches mothers. Yeah, question, Fred? Of the animal. If you would know. Clearly only if you would know. Right. Okay. So we are now 3 lines down. Amar Rav Huna bar Chia Amar Shmuel. Rav Huna, the son of Chia, said the name of Shmuel. Hilchasa kechananya. Halachas like Chananya, that if we do know who the father of this animal is, we cannot kill the father of the animal and the animal on the same day. The law of Oso V'es Beno does not apply only to mother and child. It applies even to father and child. Says the Gemara, we are now on the 5th line of Ayin Tes Amud Aleph. We need another book for Kim. All right, we are 79a, I'm sure. Va'azda Shmuel Etameh. Shmuel is being consistent with his view, because we're about to see that Shmuel calls the view of Chananya the view of Chachamim, the sages. Now, whenever you have the sages, that means it's the majority view. So if you say something is the majority view, it's another way of saying that's the halacha. So we see that Shmuel's consistent in saying that halacha is like Chananya, that if the father, that the same way there's a prohibition of mother and son, there's also a prohibition of father and son. Shmuel is consistent. It's not because we have a Mishnah in Meseches Kil'ayim in regards to the prohibitions of Kil'ayim. So important point, Kil'ayim obviously is that Hashem has told us we are not allowed to crossbreed animals of different types. We couldn't mix together, let's say, a sheep with a dog. We couldn't put the two of them together so that the dog should inseminate the sheep. We can't mix together different types. It's not, and we have a Mishnah, Rabbi Yehuda said like this: Hanoladim min asus. If the mother was a horse, afal pisha and chamor, even though their father is a donkey, mutar and zebazeh, they are allowed with each other. We'll have to see what that means. Aval hanoladim min achamor, but those whose mother is a donkey, imanoladim min asus, together with those whose mother is a horse, asurin, they're not allowed to be with each other. So Yehuda says if the mother's a donkey and the mother's a horse, the other one's mother is a horse, they can't be with each other. Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel, and here's why we're quoting this. Rabbi Yehuda says the name of Shmuel. Zu divrei Rabbi Yehuda. That's the view of the holy Tana Rabbi Yehuda, the Amar, who says, Ein Choshim L'Zera Av. We don't care about the father. The father doesn't, the seed of the father, the insemination of the father doesn't have an impact. We only look at the mother. So therefore, if the mother of one was a donkey, the mother of the other was a horse, so these are two different types, and they can't be with each other. Avol Chachamim Omrim, but the majority, the sages say, Kol Midei Prados, all these different types of mules, Achasein are all the same. So in other words, if you have a mule where in one mule it was a mother who was a horse and a father was a donkey, and the other mule it was a mother was a donkey and a father was a horse. So it doesn't matter. Since in both there's horse and donkey, both children there's horse and donkey, they can procreate with each other. They're considered one type because the father counts. Okay? So Man Chachamim, who's the one who is the Chachamim, who's going to say that father does count? Chananyahu. Amar Choshim L'Zera Av. And who's Chananya, who says that it is, who thinks we care about the seed of father. And therefore, Hai Bar Susaya V'Chamra, this one is a child of a horse and a donkey. V'Hai Bar Chamra V'Susaya. And this one, which is the child of a donkey and a horse, Kulu Chad Minanidu, they're all one type because both have father and donkey in them. I'm sorry, both have horse and donkey in them. So you see that Shmuel is calling Chananya the view of Chachamim. Chachamim is the majority view. That means he holds halacha is like Chananya. So now let's go back to Rabbi Yehuda. Says the Gemara, Yibailu had a question in the yeshiva. What is Rabbi Yehuda saying? Rabbi Yehuda disagrees. Right? We know what Chananya says. Chananya says that if you have a child who's born of a donkey mother and a horse father, and another child who's born of a horse mother and a donkey father, they can mix with each other because the father counts, and therefore both are children of donkey and horse together. Now what does Rabbi Yehuda hold? Why does he hold that they cannot mix with each other? You better let a question. What's shot in Rabbi Yehuda? Is it mifshit pshitale? Is it obvious to him, Rabbi Yehuda, dein choshim l'zera av, that father means nothing in animals? The only thing that matters in halacha in regards to animals is the mother. Mm-hmm. So if the only thing that matters is the mother, so if one is the child of a donkey mother and a horse father, and the other is a child of a horse mother and a donkey father, so we don't care about the father. So we have a child of a donkey and we have a child of a horse. So these are two different things. They can't mix with each other. Well, don't worry, maybe the Pshat Rabbi Yehuda is not like that. Rabbi Yehuda's fugim is self-galay. Rabbi Yehuda is unsure. He says maybe we don't care about the father, but maybe we do care about the father. If we don't care about the father, then it's a problem because one's the child of a donkey, one's the child of a horse. But if we do care about the father, maybe Chananya would be right that we should allow them with each other, but we're just not sure if we're agreeing with Chananya. So if we're not sure, we can't allow it because we're talking about a question of a din d'oraisa, a biblical law for prohibition of crossbreeding. We have to be strict. So maybe Rabbi Yehuda is suffix, or maybe Svukim is safkalit. So Gemara says, okay, what's the difference whether he has a suffix or he doesn't have a suffix? I'll tell you what the difference is. The Mishri Priyam Ma'im, to allow the child to be with the same type as the mother. Now, let's say you have these cases of a horse that inseminates a donkey and gives birth to a child. So there's one child who's coming from a donkey, and another child who was a donkey that inseminated a horse that gave birth to the child. So if you say that according to Rabbi Yehuda, we don't care about the fathers at all, so one is just the child of a donkey, and one is just the child of a horse. Okay, so then that which is just the child of a horse could be with other horses. That which is just the child of a donkey could be with other donkeys. But if you say that Rabbi Yehuda is a suffix, he says the reason why the two children can't be with each other is because we're not sure. Maybe they are mixed, or maybe they are just a horse and just a donkey. So if there's a suffix that maybe they are mixed, then you wouldn't allow this child of a donkey mother and a horse father to be with donkeys, because the donkeys are from two donkeys, but this might be from a donkey and a horse, because maybe we are choshish v'zera. Yeah, if you're going to tell me that it's obvious and that we only care about the mother and the father doesn't count, so priyama aim shari. So then the child of the horse and donkey could certainly be with the mother's type. But Yamrit, you're going to tell me Sukim and Safkale, if we're not sure, priyama aim asr, then the child of the horse and donkey couldn't be with the mother's type because maybe the father mattered. So what's the resolution to this question? So now let's go back to the words of Rabbi Yehuda. Tashma, come in here. This is the first line of Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda said, Rabbi Yehuda, all that their mother is a horse, Afu Shavi and Chamor, even though their father's a donkey, Mutar and Zebazet, they are allowed with each other. So now, what is that case? They say that this one, his mother was a horse. This one, his mother was a horse. This one, his father was a donkey. This one, his father was a donkey. So I need to tell you that they can be with each other. Why wouldn't they be able to be with each other? They're the same type. Whether you count fathers or you don't count fathers, they're still the same type. If you count fathers, they're both a father horse and a mother donkey. If you don't count fathers, they're both a mother donkey. So what's the issue? I need to be Yehuda for that. So it's the case when he says when they're born from when their mother's a horse, they're allowed with each other. It means like this. Allowed the case like this. Ta'avua sus. The father of this one is a horse, and this horse went to be with a horse mother and gave birth to a child. And the father of the other was a chamor, was a donkey that was with a horse mother and gave birth with a child. The Katanin it's saying, they're allowed with each other. So what do you see? What's pshat they're with each other? It's clear to him that we only care about mother, we don't care about father. Because if there's a suffix that maybe you care about father, how could you allow the child of horse to be with the child of donkey horse? If you possibly care about father, there may be different types here. Because this one, if you care about father, this one is horse, and this one is donkey horse. So this is different. The child of donkey horse is not the same thing as the child of horse.
Rabbi, if the parents did the same thing, why not the kids? Let them do what they want. The parents is it.
It's not teenagers, it's donkeys.
You have a mitzvah in the Torah of not to crossbreed.
Yeah.
But their parents already, okay?
The donkeys are not high school kids.
Liberal mindset is messed up.
So the Gemara says, no. Lo really, Davua Dahai Chamor.
I love you,
the
man.
Father.
I love you.
Really, Lolam, Davua Dahai Chamor. The case like this: the father of this one is a donkey with a horse. Davua Dahai Chamor, and the father of the other one is also a donkey with a horse. And Rabbi Yehuda says, since both the mothers are horses, they can be with each other. So you asked about that. What's the chiddush? Of course they can be with each other. I'll tell you like this. Ma'aritim would have thought to say, that when you have a father who's a horse and a mother who's a horse and a father who's a donkey, I would say that the child is both. The child is half horse, half donkey. And if a child is half horse, half donkey, even though the other child is also from a father donkey and a mother horse, I would say that that's also half horse, half donkey. And if they crossbreed with each other, maybe the half of horse is going to be using and bonding with the half of its partner that's donkey. And maybe that's a problem. That's why I need a chiddush to tell me that no, that is allowed. I would have said, the half that's a horse is mishtamish b'tzad chamor, is getting to use and getting to bond with the half of the other one, which is donkey, and tzad chamor. And the other one's half, which is donkey, is mishtamish b'tzad sus, is getting to use the half, which is horse, kamash malan. That's the chiddush, that we don't say that, but really we don't have a proof to the view of Rabbi Yehuda, whether he's based on a safek or based on a vadalis. So Tashma, come in here, another proof. Rabbi Yehuda says, Preda, if you have a mule, Shetava, that wants to be inseminated, I don't know how they would know, I guess they would know that somehow. Eimar bin Aleh, they don't mix with her, lo sus, neither a horse, v'lo chamor, nor a donkey. Elamina, you could only mix it with another mule. Now, if you're going to say that according to Rabbi Yehuda, it's obvious that the father is nothing, it's only the mother, then why do you say you can only mix it with another mule? Lir ba'ala mina de'ima. You could mix it with the type of its mother. So maybe that case of that price is the lo yadina mina de'ima ma'nihu. We don't know what type the mother was. We just see a mule. We don't know if this mule was from a donkey mother and horse father, or was from a horse mother and a donkey father. One second. How can you say that's the case of the brisa? But elamina katan. It says you can only mix it with its own type. You don't know what its type is. This is what it means. We don't put on it lo min sus, neither horse, lo min chamor, nor donkey, because we don't know what its type is. We don't know what its mother was. Asks the Gemara, why can't we check based on physical characteristics? Rabbi used to say, avi kale, when you have a mule with a very thick voice, bar chamra, that means that the mother was a donkey. Donkeys, right? Donkeys bray, they have a big voice, not like horses. Sanif kale, if the voice is thin, bar susaya, that means it's the child of a horse. Rav Papa had other signs. Rav Ravan Utne, if the ears are wide, big ears, and Zutra Gnufte, and the tail is small, Bar Chamra, that means it's the child of a donkey. Zutra Utne, if the ears are small, Virabba Gnufte, and the tail is big, Bar Susaya, that means it's the son of a horse. Gemara says, okay, the case here was the ilemes. This is a mule that's mute, so we can't see what type of mother it had by its horse. The gidemes, and it's missing its legs, so we can't tell the type of tail it had, and its ears are also off, so we can't tell the type of ears. So we don't know what mother it was. So we're saying you can just mute, you can't mix it with others because you don't know its type. All right, my Avi Allah, what's the bottom line about Rabbi Yehuda? Is he mesupik about the father's influence, or is he sure that there is no father influence in animals? Tashma, come and hear approved. Am Ravuna Brady of Yeshua. Ravuna, the son of Rabbi Yeshua, said, Hakol modim b'pri ima'im she'asur. Everybody agrees. Even Rabbi Yehuda agrees that the mule cannot be with his mother or with his mother's type. He can't be with his mother's type. Why? Shema minas, you see, Sukkah Mesafkalei. Rabbi Yehuda doesn't agree with Hananya. Hananya says that the father counts. Rabbi Yehuda says the father, I don't know, maybe he counts, maybe he doesn't count. Shema minas, that is a good proof. Yeah, question, Baruch.
Well, I think you just answered me. So the father doesn't count yet. The mother is the one that...
No, according to Hananya, the father does count. Okay. According to Rabbi Yehuda, we have a suffix. Maybe the father counts, maybe he doesn't count.
Which one is halacha?
Oh, who would we paskin like? I think we would paskin like Rabbi Yehuda, because there's so much discussion about Rabbi Yehuda. We would paskin like Rabbi Yehuda. And the Gemara, if halacha is not like Rabbi Yehuda, halacha is like the Hananya and the Chachamim, why are we so concerned? What is the view of Rabbi Yehuda? The fact we were so concerned for the view of Rabbi Yehuda shows that halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda.
Which is part of the mother. Right.
It's a suffix. It's mother, but maybe also the father.
There is a maybe here, so we don't know.
No, when we have a situation, we would not allow the child of a mother horse and father donkey. We would not allow that child to be with horses because it's different. This child might have horse and donkey in it. Horses just have horse. And we wouldn't allow it to be with a mule that was a child of a mother donkey and father horse.
So then what the child is supposed to be now?
With his own type. With some other mule that's the child of a mother horse and father donkey.
It's brother. So in all instances, the animals
there has to be
could mate with their mothers and fathers.
Sounds like that. I don't see what the problem is. It's type.
Can't be a little more open-minded. So.
They don't have arayos, animals.
I mean, Rabbi, if they're in a wild, somewhere, they do the hanky-panky, whatever.
But if you're the farmer, the rancher who owns them, you got to watch what's going on. You've got to supervise, control the situation. Okay. Amalei Rab Abba l'shamei. Rab Abba said to his attendant, Kima aylatli kudnai sabrisbak. When you bring for me mules for the wagon that I'm riding, ayin lahanach tadamin la'adadi v'ayli. Make sure that the mules look alike. In other words, they both have big ears or they both have small tails, so that I don't want to violate the prohibition of kilayim by having different types pull my wagon. Alma kasavar, so you see he holds ein choshen l'zera'av. He's not worried about the fathers. He's just worried about the mothers. So as long as they look alike, that is enough. This simanim d'oraisi. See another thing that he holds. Now turning to Ayin Testament Beis. He holds that just the simanim of what the animal is, big ears, small tails, that's enough to know exactly what happened with this animal. So that would tell you in regards to Masechet Bava Metzia that we have a law that if you find signs on a lost object and you return the lost object to the person who can claim those signs, that's a biblical proof of what that object really is and who it really belongs to. Because if simanim would just be a takana d'Rabbanan, based on the takana d'Rabbanan, you couldn't be sure that it's not gilayim. If we're saying that here, based on the simanim, we know exactly what type these two things are, and therefore you can mix the two together, you can have them pulling a wagon together, and it's not gilayim, you see that simanim is a biblical concept. Okay. So on Rabbanan, we learned in a brisa. Also, this law that you can't kill the mother and the child, noeg b'kilayim, it applies even to a case of kilayim, of a crossbreed. Ubikoi, and it applies to a koi. A koi is a creature that comes from a domesticated animal that was mixed with a wild animal. However, Rabbi Lezer says kilayim abba min ha'ezim min ha'rachel. If you have a crossbreed of a goat together with a sheep, so then also vespino noigbo. Then the same way you can't kill the child and the mother on the same day. However, koi, but if what you have is a crossbreed of a domesticated animal with a wild animal, and also vespino noigbo, there's no law that you can't kill the mother with the child. So Rav Chizda explained. What's the situation of koi that you have this argument? A child of a goat together with a deer. So the child of a goat and a deer, so that according to the Chachamim, you couldn't kill the mother and child on the same day. And according to Rabbi Lezer, you could kill the mother and child on the same day. So what's this case? If the father is the goat, Habalat Tzviya, who inseminates the deer, the old one, she gives birth to the crossbreed, V'kashachit lav bra, and he kills the mother that day, the deer, and now he's killing the son. So 1 second. Rav Chizda, but didn't Rav Chizda tell us, Hakol Modim, everybody agrees. The hitzvi of natayish, if the mother is a deer and the child is a goat, shepater, that certainly there's no law of osav esbeno, because again the Torah says shor oseh, right? An ox or a sheep, osov esbeno. So what's the common denominator to an ox and a sheep? They're both domesticated animals. They're both behemoths. This law of Osov Espino, that you can't kill the mother and the child, or maybe it's the father and the child on the same day, that only applies to domesticated animals, to behemoths. It certainly does not apply to chayos. It doesn't apply to wild animals. It's shor oseh. It doesn't talk about tzvi. So, if the case is that the mother is a tzvi and the child is a goat, of course he's exempt. Because the Torah says, shor oseh oseh v'espino, sev no amarachmana. The Torah said a sheep and its child. Not a deer with its child. Ella, so what's the case? We're talking about where a deer was the father. The deer, which is the father, inseminates the goat as the mother. And then there's the child. He kills the goat, ulibra, and the child. And that's what you're going to say is the argument. One second. But didn't Rav Chizda say Hakal Modim? Everybody agrees that when you have a goat as the mother, whose child is a deer, and he kills the goat mother and the child, shechayev, that everybody agrees he's chayev. Because Se'am Rachman, Hashem said, a sheep, uvno koldu, and its son, whatever its son is, it doesn't say a son who is a sheep, whatever type of son would be considered a son for Osav Es Beno. So therefore the Torah says son. So what's the argument? What's the argument between the Chachamim and Rabbi Elazar? Doesn't everybody agree that there's no Osav Es Beno in wild animals? So what's the argument here? So the Gemara explains the old and the case is Taya Shabal Atzviyah. When there is a goat who is the father, who inseminates a deer which is the mother, the Yolda Bas, that gave birth to a daughter. And that daughter, Bas Yolda Ben, that daughter then gave birth to a son. The Kashachit La, and he's slaughtering the daughter, Ulibra, and the son. Rabbanan Savi, the Rabbanan hold, Choshen Lezera Av, that in animals the father's seed matters. So this daughter is goat plus deer. The mother was deer, but also goat. And therefore, when the pasuk says v'seh, the Torah talks about a sheep, a domesticated animal, afilu mitzaseh, even if it's only partially a sheep. That's what you have here. Because in this mother, its father was goat, so therefore it's partially domesticated animal. And therefore you have also Osav Es Beno. But Belazar Savar, Belazar though holds, Ein Choshen Lezera Av. We don't care about the father in an animal. We only care about the mother. So therefore, when you have a male goat inseminating a female deer, and you only care about the mother, so what's the child? Deer, because it's only deer. Deer is wild or domestic? Wild. In wild you don't have Osav Es Beno. So therefore, there's no Osav Es Beno. So therefore they say, Sev afilu miktzah selamin, and we don't apply here the concept, oh, but it's partially a sheep. We don't say that. No, because we don't care about the father. We only care about the mother. It's only a wild animal. Since it's only a wild animal, there's no law of Oso v'es b'no. So asks the Gemara, if the argument is about whether in animals the father's seed matters, the liflokes, and let them argue, b'choshen l'zera av, whether the father's seed matters, v'plukta d'chananya v'rabbanan. In the argument of the Chananya and the Rabbanan, in regards to many halachos, right? That according to, let's say, Osav Es Beno, if you think the father's seed matters, so then there's a prohibition of killing father animal and child animal in the same day. If you feel father's seed doesn't matter, then there's no prohibition of killing father animal and child animal in the same day, because the father doesn't matter anything. So the Gemara says, listen, if they would have argued there, Havamina would have said, in this case, afilu Rabbanan modu. Even the Rabbanan would agree, because they might say sev afilu miktzah selarminan. They would say no, even if a father matters, but nevertheless, there's no Osav Es Beno in the case that we're talking about of a koi who gives birth to something, because the koi is not a full sheep; it's only partially a sheep, and maybe Osav Es Beno doesn't apply to a partial sheep. That's what we have to say, that the Chacham argue here, and to say that Osav Es Beno applies when a koi gives birth. Okay, so now let's talk about the mitzvah of Kisui Adam, the mitzvah of covering the blood. We don't have a mitzvah to cover the blood of wild animals. We only have we don't have a mitzvah to cover the blood of domesticated animals. We only have the mitzvah of covering the blood of wild animals. What about a Mishnah that we learn in regards to doing shchita on Yom Tov? Koi, if you have a koi, this mixture of a wild animal and domesticated animal, ain't shochan also be Yom Tov, you can't shecht it on Yom Tov. Why? Because we don't know if it's wild or if it's domesticated, because it might be wild and need Kisui Adam. On the other hand, it might be domesticated and not need Kisui Adam. So therefore, we couldn't carry the dirt in order to do the covering of the blood, because it would be muktzah, because we don't know that we necessarily need the dirt, and therefore we can't shech the koi on Yom Tov. V'im shachto, and if he did shech the koi on Yom Tov, A mechasenes damo, he's not allowed to cover the blood because the dirt is muktzah and it's only a suffix. Now, 1 second, what's the case of a koi here? About a male goat. Habala tzvia that inseminates a female deer. The Aldan, they give birth. So, bein the Rabbanan, whether the Rabbanan who hold that the father matters, ubein the Rebbe Lezer, country Rebbe Lezer holds that the father doesn't matter. Lishchot v'lichsi. Either way, you should be able to shecht and cover the blood. In other words, because wait to the Rebbe Lezer, he doesn't think that the father matters, so it's only a deer. So if it's only a deer, it's like a regular deer. You can slaughter deer on Yom Tov and cover the blood. Chachamim who think that it is partially a father, right? It's partially goat and partially deer. Also, you should be able to do. Why? Because Tzvi, Hashem said, when you have a deer, you have to cover the blood. Afilu mixas tzvi, even if it's only partially a deer. Elas, or rather the case is, but Tzvi abalat yashu. We're talking about a deer that inseminates a goat. The yod and the goat gave birth. So 1 second. Either Rabbanan, according to the Rabbanan, again, lishchot v'lichsi, since we care about the father, it's impartial chaya, the blood should be covered. Either Belezer, according to Belezer, lishchot, so then shecht, the lo lichsi. And since the mother's domestic animals, you don't have anything to cover. So the Gemara answers, lo, and really we're talking about b'tzvi abala tiyasha. We're talking about a deer that inseminates a goat. And the pshat is like this, Rabbanan hold like we said in Rabbi Yehuda, Sfuki mesafkalu, ichoshin l'zeravi and choshin. They have a suffix about whether or not they do take into account the father's contribution, and therefore, since it's a suffix, because maybe we're not choshish v'zera av, and if we're not choshish v'zera av, there would be no need for kisui. Maybe we are choshish v'zera av. There is needed for kisui. That's why you can't cover on Yom Tov. You can't move the dirt. It's just muktzah to cover on Yom Tov.